Today, we're unveiling a forgotten secret. Why can an ancient Taoist breathing technique restore a tired person to health in just 10 minutes? Why is it called the key to reclaiming life? Chapter 1. Why do you get more tired the more you sleep? Have you noticed that the most common phrase used by modern people is, "I'm so tired." They're so tired they can't concentrate. So tired they lack any enthusiasm. So tired they feel life is meaningless. The terrifying thing is, this exhaustion isn't always caused by external factors. You might think it's from overwork, but even after quitting your job and taking a break, you still feel tired. You might think it's physical weakness, but tests show nothing. You might think it's an emotional issue, but psychological adjustments don't help. So, what's the problem? Taoists have a saying, when the qi is out of balance, the spirit and soul are scattered. When your breathing is shallow, irregular, and rapid, the flow of energy in your body is like a blocked stream. The water appears to be flowing, but it's scattered everywhere, unable to nourish the fields. The result is, no matter how long you sleep, you can't replenish your energy.
After a short workday, you're exhausted.
Life gradually becomes a silent descent. Scientific research confirms this. Modern people generally breathe shallowly. The chest rises and falls only at the surface, limiting gas exchange and insufficient blood oxygen. Deeper energy exchange is completely forgotten. And here's the real problem. When breathing remains superficial, you only receive air, not energy. It's like drinking water and still feeling thirsty, eating food and still feeling empty. So what is the difference between Taoist breathing techniques and ordinary deep breathing? The answer lies in Chapter 2. Chapter 2, Breathing. What do we actually inhale? You might think breathing is just a physiological process. Air comes in, oxygen enters the blood, and carbon dioxide is expelled, allowing the body to survive. But Taoists don't see it that way. Breathing is not just about exchanging oxygen. It's also about the inflow and outflow of energy. The ancients called this receiving qi. What we inhale isn't just air, but the life force of heaven and earth. Modern science explains that when you breathe deeply and steadily, the parasympathetic nervous system is activated, and the body automatically enters a state of repair and recovery. During this time, your energy expenditure decreases, while your energy reserves actually increase. However, when breathing becomes rapid and shallow, the sympathetic nervous system remains permanently active, causing the body to constantly consume energy without actually replenishing it. This is why you need coffee to keep going after working for an hour. You sleep 8 hours a day, yet still feel tired. You feel more anxious after exercising than before. This is because your breathing is solely focused on physiological survival, not energy circulation. The secret of Taoist breathing techniques lies in reconnecting you to your energy circulation system. They say, breathing is not the rise and fall of the chest, but the swelling of the abdomen. Inhaling is not about taking in air, but about taking in the cool of heaven and earth. Exhaling is not simply about expelling waste, but about clearing away heaviness, turbidity, and impurities in your body. It may sound mysterious, but once you experience it yourself, you'll understand. Your breathing actually determines whether you are consuming or replenishing energy. Chapter 3. Your energy circulation may have been broken. Please close your eyes and try a little experiment. Now take a breath, hold it for 3 seconds, and then exhale slowly. Note, does your breath flow smoothly into your lower abdomen, or does it stay in your chest and exhale hastily? If you find that your breath only floats in your chest, and you can't even sustain a deep breath for 20 seconds. This means your energy circulation is partially broken. Worse, you may be experiencing daily losses, like a bank account, with only outgoings and no incomings. As a result, your spirit becomes increasingly depleted. Your body becomes increasingly heavy. Your emotions become increasingly sensitive. Your life loses its motivation. This is what the Taoists say. If the qi is not solid, the spirit cannot be maintained. If the qi cannot flow steadily, the spirit is like a candle in the wind, ready to go out at any moment. So, if you often feel exhausted, even though you haven't done anything, never feel enough sleep, no matter how much sleep you get, frequent, inexplicable panic, anxiety, and weakness, then you're not lazy or weak, but rather your energy circulation has been disrupted, overdrawing on your life itself. So, how does Taoist breathing repair this break? Next, you'll discover the astonishing wisdom left by the ancients, more direct and effective than any tonic or psychological therapy. Chapter 4. The Breathing Secrets Left Behind by Lao. There's a saying in the Tao Te Ching, concentrate your energy until it is soft. Can you become like a baby? Many people find this statement baffling. In fact, Lao Tzu was reminding us long ago, true energy breathing requires returning to the state of a baby. Have you ever noticed? When a baby sleeps, their belly swells and their chest barely moves. This kind of breathing is called abdominal breathing. Why? Because a baby's energy circulation is uncontaminated, allowing their breath to naturally sink into their dantian. As adults, however, we become overwhelmed by stress, anxiety, and tension, and our breathing becomes increasingly shallow. This traps energy in the chest, preventing it from penetrating deeper. As a result, we become increasingly exhausted. The Taoist breathing method for restoring energy consists of 3 steps. Step 1. Intake the qi into the dantian. When inhaling, don't let your chest rise. Instead, direct the breath into your lower abdomen. Imagine a pool of energy below your navel. As you inhale, gently inflate your abdomen, as if gathering the energy of heaven and earth into this pool. Step 2. Expel impurities and eliminate waste. When you exhale, don't simply expel carbon dioxide. Instead, intentionally expel the heaviness, anxiety, and fatigue in your body. Imagine the dark, turbid air slowly expelling from your mouth and nose, your body gradually becoming lighter. Step 3. Regulate the circulation. Don't rush your breathing. Take the 4-beat pattern as an example. Inhale for 4 seconds, pause for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, pause for 4 seconds. This isn't a physical exercise, but a rhythm of energy. Over time, you'll find that your body has developed an internal generator, recharging with each breath. Taoists call this state qi sinking into the dantian, circulating throughout the body. Simply put, the energy circuit is closed again, and you're no longer simply expending energy, but rather your energy is self-repairing. Chapter 5. Why are modern breathing techniques ineffective? You might ask, if Taoist breathing techniques are so simple, why do modern people see so little improvement? Some even say they become more anxious and chaotic the more they practice. There's a single reason. Your body has long been shackled by invisible shackles. What are these invisible shackles? They're the modern stress patterns. Stress, anxiety, screen time, and excessive mental activity. These factors stiffen your diaphragm, tighten your chest, and prevent your breath from truly entering your dantian. So no matter how deep you breathe, You're only shallowly moving air in and out of your chest. Even more frighteningly, many people breathe 20,000 times a day, yet almost every breath consumes energy rather than replenishes it. Imagine this. Every breath you take is like deducting $1 from your bank account. 20,000 breaths a day means you're constantly overdrawing your balance. No wonder you feel more tired the more you sleep, and more exhausted the more you rest. This is why ordinary deep breathing exercises won't save you. Only by truly mastering Taoist breathing techniques can you break this vicious cycle. Chapter 6. The Taoist three-step method for restoring energy. Lao Tzu once said an intriguing statement. Man follows the earth follows the sky follows the Tao, and the Tao follows nature. What does this mean? Human energy is supposed to be in sync with the earth, the atmosphere, and the universe. But when this connection is severed, you become like a grass without roots. No matter how vigorous it is, it will wither. The Taoist secret to restoring energy can be condensed into 3 words: regulate, guard, and guide. This isn't a random arrangement. It's the key to gradually unlocking the shackles of energy. Step 1. Regulate. The code for restarting. Breathing regulate means regulating the breath. You must first allow your breath to truly return to its source, the Dantian. How do you do this? Taoists have a mantra. Breathe through the nose, calm your mind, and let the breath return to the sea of primordial energy. When you inhale, don't let the air remain in your chest. Instead, consciously direct it to your lower abdomen. At first you'll feel awkward, and even suspect you're faking it. But after a few persistences, you'll suddenly feel a gentle warmth flowing through your abdomen. This is the first sign of energy circulation. Step 2. Holding, the key to preventing energy leakage. When this warm flow appears, many people become excited, even impatient for results. However, Taoists emphasize holding. Holding means allowing energy to remain within the body, preventing it from being plundered again. When practicing, the ancients would sit quietly with their eyes slightly closed, their tongue pressed against the roof of their mouth, and their palms facing downward on their knees. Why press the tongue against the roof of their mouth? Because this closes the Ren and Du meridians in the body, like connecting an electrical circuit. Once connected, energy no longer leaks out, but instead circulates. If you fail to hold this energy, it will be like a leaky bucket. No matter how much you have, you won't be able to retain it. Step 3. Channeling. Opening up the energy flow. Throughout the body, the final step is channeling. This step is often misunderstood as a complex action, but it's actually very simple. Once you hold the energy, you can use your consciousness to guide it to where it's needed. When your mind is confused, direct your breath to the Bai Hui acupoint. When your chest feels tight, direct your breath to the Tanzhong acupoint. When your legs feel weak, direct your breath to the Yongquan acupoint. Some call this acupuncture through breathing. You don't need needles. Your mind is the most precise energy guiding tool. When you complete the regulating, guarding, and directing methods, your body's energy circulation will slowly recover, like a dredged river flowing again. However, Lao Tzu also left a warning. If you use this method improperly, you may incur backlash. What is backlash? In Chapter 7, I will tell the true story of an ancient disciple. His impatience led him to suffer a counterattack from energy, nearly driving him insane. Chapter 7. A warning about backlash. The price of haste, tucked away in the margins of Taoist texts. There's a story that's rarely mentioned. Legend has it that when Lao Tzu was preaching at Hangu Pass, he had a young disciple named Ziheng. He was extremely intelligent, but his greatest flaw was impatience. While other disciples were still meditating and slowly regulating their breathing, he was already eager to achieve a breakthrough. Ziheng's trial one day. He heard Lao Tzu mention a secret formula. 3 breaths return to the origin, and all the meridians will naturally open. This means that when breathing is perfectly coordinated, 3 deep breaths can open up the energy circulation throughout the body. Ziheng thought he was ready, so he secretly tried it alone at night. He held his breath, pressed his tongue against the roof of his mouth, and concentrated his energy into his dantian. After 3 breaths, his whole body shook, and a warm current surged like thunder, instantly accelerating his blood flow. He was thrilled, believing he had succeeded, the coming of a strange change. But soon, he realized something was wrong. The warm current did not flow smoothly, but instead stagnated in his chest, like a huge rock pressing down on his heart. His breathing became rapid, his vision blurred, and he even heard a low roaring sound in his ears, as if something was tearing at his insides. The next day, his face was as pale as paper, his eyes were vacant, and he even had hallucinations. He often muttered to himself that someone was secretly draining his energy. Lao Tzu's warning. Seeing this, Lao Tzu sighed and said, "To seek rapid success without stable energy is like a young seedling growing rapidly. It will inevitably wither and die." So, he personally took Ziheng to a cave for 7 days of rest, focusing on slow breathing and strengthening the dantian, and finally brought him back from the brink of collapse. Lao Tzu warned all his disciples, energy circulation is not a shortcut, but a process of restoration. Anyone who rushes for success will inevitably suffer a backlash. Modern reflections today. This story sounds like an ancient legend, but do you see it in yourself? You work late into the night and suddenly feel a tightness in your chest. You suffer from chronic anxiety, and your chest feels like a stone is pressing down. You try to meditate, but your restlessness leads to dizziness and palpitations. These may be modern manifestations of energy backlash. Lao Tzu said, "Great things are achieved late. Great sounds are silent." True energy circulation is never achieved overnight. It is a gradual process. So how do you avoid backlash? How do you ensure a steady flow of energy without impacting your internal organs? In Chapter 8, I'll share a safety valve. The most reliable method passed down by Lao Tzu. It will ensure your energy is not backlashed, but rather grows stronger. Chapter 8. The energy safety valve. Lao Tzu often used a metaphor in his teachings. When water overflows, it overflows. So does energy. His message is that if energy surges too quickly, it will burst like a flood, destroying the body. So, he created a safety valve to maintain a steady circulation of energy within the body, preventing it from overflowing while allowing it to gradually increase in strength. The core of this safety valve. Slow breathing. Lao Tzu emphasized that true breathing is not about rapid inhalation and exhalation, but rather about gentle, long, slow, and even breathing. Specific steps. Inhale. Inhale slowly through the nose, imagining the air reaching the dantian, like water flowing slowly into a pond. Pause. Pause briefly in the lower abdomen, silently chanting the word, quiet. Exhale. Exhale slowly through the nose, imagining exhaustion and turbidity being carried away. Lao Tzu said that this type of breathing is like installing a gate within the body, preventing energy from bursting out, but rather channeling it steadily. The second key, focusing your mind on the sea of qi. Another layer of the safety valve is guarding the dantian. Why? Because the dantian is called the sea of qi. Just as the ocean can absorb countless rivers, the dantian can store energy. When you breathe into the dantian, don't rush to direct the energy. Instead, first guard it, hold it, allowing the energy to slowly accumulate in the abdomen like water. Once the energy is stable, allow it to flow to the limbs and bones. This is the secret to avoiding backlash. The third key, use the heart as a mirror. Lao Tzu also said, empty your mind, fill your belly. The mind should be empty, and the belly should be full. If you breathe while your mind wanders, energy can easily wander, even causing dizziness and chest tightness. Thus, he instructed his disciples to practice with a mind like still water. Imagine yourself in a quiet valley, with gurgling water and only the sound of your breathing, gradually aligning with the rhythm of nature. The effects are appearing. A disciple once said that after 7 days of practice, they felt lighter, their sleep became deeper at night, and their mind was exceptionally clear during the day. Others discovered that the anxiety and anger that had plagued them in the past gradually faded, replaced by a long-lost peace. Lao Tzu called this energy returning to its roots. Once energy returns to its roots, the body becomes like a tree with deep roots, unshakable even by the strongest winds and rain. However, Lao Tzu also warned, only those who maintain the safety valve are qualified to proceed to the next step. For the next step is not simply about recovery, but about achieving a state of transcendence. That is the true miracle of Taoist breathing. Chapter 9. Magnetic field, cracks, and soul leakage. When a person's frequency suddenly drops to a certain threshold, tiny cracks appear in the body's magnetic field. These cracks, like invisible cracks in a wall, silently allow energy to escape. Ancient practitioners called this soul energy leakage. They believed that if a person remains in the low-frequency state of fear, anger, and desire for a long time, the cracks in their magnetic field will widen until some of their soul's energy is lost. This is why some people suddenly become lifeless, their eyes dim, as if their spiritual light has been drained away. While modern science does not acknowledge the existence of the soul, similar phenomena have been observed in certain experiments examining brain waves and magnetic fields. When people are depressed, the amplitude of their brain waves drops dramatically, and magnetic field measurements around the body also show fluctuations and instabilities. In other words, the leakage of the soul may be the physical manifestation of a frequency imbalance leading to the collapse of the magnetic field. So, how can these cracks be repaired? The ancients left behind a simple yet often overlooked method: meditation, breathing, and regulating one's breathing. Breathing is the thread of the magnetic field. Meditation is the needle of repair. Every deep inhalation and exhalation weaves energy back into your magnetic field. If the cracks are not repaired, the soul will continue to drain. Once the soul loses too much energy, a person will fall into an irreversible sense of emptiness, the feeling that no matter what they do, they are simply exhausting the last remaining spark of life. This is why repairing magnetic field cracks is far more crucial than seeking any external spiritual miracles. Chapter 10. Magnetic Field Shielding Techniques. In ancient wisdom, ancients long understood that soul energy is not indestructible. Once magnetic field cracks widen, negative external forces can exploit the opportunity. Therefore, they created various shielding techniques to stabilize and strengthen their energy fields. The classic of mountains and seas mentions wearing stones to ward off evil spirits. These stones were precisely the shielding tools used by the ancients. They resonated with their frequencies to create a barrier for the wearer. Modern science has verified that certain minerals, such as obsidian and hematite, can indeed interfere with electromagnetic fields to a minimal degree. This may be the principle behind the ancient practice of wearing stones for protection. Similar methods exist in Western esotericism. Alchemists would draw circles around their laboratories. These circles were not only a symbol, but also a concrete manifestation of magnetic field shielding. Standing within the circle and focusing their mind, external interference was significantly reduced. This coincides with the Taoist concept of enchantment. The essence of shielding lies not in relying on external objects, but rather on intention and frequency. A truly powerful shield is generated by consciousness. When you expand your energy outward in meditation and set an inviolable boundary in your mind, that invisible wall will truly appear. Experienced practitioners can clearly feel. When the shield rises, the oppressive feeling of the surrounding air suddenly decreases. Thoughts become less chaotic, as if the mind has finally found a safe haven. But a shield isn't established all at once. It requires ongoing maintenance. Daily focused breathing, frequency resonance, and mindful protection will keep this protective wall strong. Otherwise, like unpolished copper, it will gradually rust and develop flaws. This is the core revelation of ancient wisdom. A shield isn't about defending against the world, but about protecting your frequency. At this moment, I want to ask you a question. Are you willing to continue to let your soul be consumed, like a lamp about to go out? Or are you willing to try the long-tested wisdom of the ancients and allow your energy to flow again? Lao Tzu said, "Man follows the earth follows the sky follows the Tao, and the Tao follows nature." Breathing is the bridge connecting man to heaven and earth. Miss it, and you risk a lifetime of exhaustion. Master it, and you'll embark on a path of energetic awakening. Now close your eyes and take a deep breath. You'll discover that change has already begun.